Peter Burkhardt.
Myself.
Me. It's underrated. Never selected me for the first. I was underrated.
Definitely myself.
This is probably a little bit biased, but I think Greg Box has been the best cricketer I've seen at this club. So a lot of people rate him, but not as highly as I do.
Probably around the same age as me. Chris Cadetti, so many years he's just gone through. He's had his couple of games in the ones, but a steady twos player, year in, year out, just does his bit every single week and very hard to beat.
Tough one, probably Chris Cadetti in my eyes a little bit. I think he's great talent and probably doesn't and hasn't got the opportunities he's deserved.
Justin O'Dwyer.
Cam Porteous, I reckon, is probably a little underrated, I reckon, and Andrew Cavassi's probably the other one. I reckon they're both very good cricketers that probably could get more opportunity.
I reckon he's very consistent, and I think he's a better bowler than everyone thinks, and my honest opinion is, and this is probably going to the audience tonight, I reckon Cam Porteous should be in the ones.
Cam Porteous is a very, very good bowler, and he's taken a lot of wickets. Probably hasn't had a big chance, just because everyone's bowling pretty well, I think, in the ones, but he's a very, very good bowler, so I think he's a little bit underrated at the moment, and he'll get his chance.
Man that pumps his tyres up a fair bit, I have to say Jared Thorpe.
I'd say probably Jared Thorpe for me, but the only one who doesn't underrate Jared Thorpe would be Jared Thorpe. So I think that we all underrate him, but not Jared Thorpe. He rates himself.
Jesse Francis.
Graham Elliott. The value he puts on his wicket is second to none, and just nothing gets past him in the gully. Just really underrated.
Actually, probably people might not think he's underrated, but I think Peter Grierson most underrated. He got a lot of fifers in the top grade, and now I know he's taken the most wickets, but he's done it in a really good way, and he's been a fantastic cricketer in the club. So for me, underrated Peter Grierson.
Look, I think I didn't play a lot with him. He played a long time, but I didn't play a lot with him. It was probably Peter Grierson was the one. Certainly from a first point of view, was a player that most blokes would see him and think, yeah, I can hit this. I can. Even Peter will probably agree. At times, he'd think, I can whack this, and he just had a habit of getting wickets. Yeah. And I reckon he was probably a player who was pretty underrated in that era. Some great bowlers around him, so Jacko and John and those sort of blokes. But he was probably a bloke in that era who I think was probably a little bit underrated, and someone who was had an amazing record in the end when you look at it. So
Peter Grierson. Other sides underrated him big time, but we didn't underrate him at Heatherdale, obviously, but other sides did, and John Goff again.
Between Grau and probably Cads, so you can sort of pick either one of those two,
I'm going with Langy. He's just someone who doesn't take the credit for anything and sort of goes under the radar, but for everything he's done, just wickets, runs, but certainly captain the Shield flag, so I think he doesn't often get talked about.
Very good.
He didn't pay me for this, I can guarantee you that, but I reckon Chris Costello. We give him a lot of crap. He takes a lot on the chin, but gee, he can bowl a really tight line, good length, does 8 overs, 10 overs in a spell for you, never misses a beat. So Chrissy Costello, I reckon he's probably a bit underrated for me.
Ben Joseph.
Ben Joseph. Shit, underrated. I'd probably say more understated than underrated, or under the radar. It'd probably be Cads and what's the other one? Johnny Box would be the other one. Those two there, and probably the blokes that I've played with. Probably Das was one I played a bit with. I thought he would be a bit underrated as well.
The plough.
Philip Jackson probably hasn't got the kudos down here that he deserves.
Mel Elliott's hitting power and Tommy's leg spin.
Robert Chapman and Adam Davey.
I'm going to go with Hugo Morgan, a young fellow who's down the grades.
John Cadzo.
John Cadzo.